Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp. We've got another review for you today, this time of Flynn, Son of Crimson, and this was written for us by a good friend of the channel, Azdin. Azdin has his own channel, Grinning Wolf Games. It would be great if you could check it out and have a look at some of his content. I'll put a link to it in a top pinned comment. Flynn, Son of Crimson is a handcrafted 2D action platformer with over 40 levels. It will take you on a journey of discovery and conflict as you learn to master the art of Crimson energy, help Flynn and his guardian dog Dex save Rosantica from the evil scourge before it consumes his land. But will Flynn, Son of Crimson be a case of red sky at night, gamer's delight? Crimson's basically red, isn't it? Otherwise that joke doesn't work. Well, thank you to the publishing team for the review code, and now let's find out. You take control of Flynn then, a young man orphaned as a child and with a past shrouded in mystery. After a brief stroll with Dex, he encounters a mysterious figure that immediately attacks him, awakening Flynn's latent powers. Shortly after this antagonist's defeat, Dex has all of her guardian powers stolen, and it's up to Flynn to restore his four-legged friend. He will meet a cast of colourful characters and slowly find out about his past, his powers, and learn about the parallel universe linked to the Scourge. So as mentioned, this is a 2D action platformer. You will travel around a world map and visit many different towns and stages. There are some tense set pieces that can be challenging and require a few attempts, such as the rolling boulder that chases you inside a tight tunnel. I had to redo that section a fair few times, and I would say that the respawn point always being at the entrance of a new section of the level meant I was pretty far away from attempting the deadly trap once again. As you make your way through the levels, Flynn will engage in combat with a myriad of enemies. These will have a health and stagger bar. Once you have dealt enough damage, the enemy will be dazed and left open to more attacks. These enemies will flash white just before attacking, giving you a signal to roll out of danger. You will have access to ranged attacks as well, as these are necessary for some of the puzzles in the level, such as activating a switch that is out of reach. I found the combat to be a lot of fun and very responsive. It was full of high octane moments, and Flynn's demise, if ever it occurred, was caused by my own lack of concentration or slow reflexes. I did however find that some jumping inputs did not register, causing me to fall into bottomless pits or have to attempt the jump again. I was expecting a somewhat generic action platformer, but it's great to find out that there's plenty to collect, unlock or upgrade as you make your way further into the game. All of the weapons are made out of Crimson power, and I really liked the notion of wielding these instruments out of raw magic. It reminded me of the Green Lantern from DC Comics, who can shape objects out of energy at will. As you progress through the game, Flynn will obtain new powers that aid him in his adventure after defeating a boss. He will eventually unlock the Crimson Control, a berserker mode that requires a gauge to fill up in order to activate. This is the kind of attack best saved against a tough situation, albeit it fills up again quite steadily. Overall, the combat felt fast paced and there was a nice flow of unlocking new moves, which made this even better. As I alluded to earlier, you will be able to upgrade your skills, combo moves and other traits via a skill tree. It's great to be able to fast travel with a press of a button, and you can get back to the main town and carry out any necessary upgrades when you want to. You will need Crimson Shards in order to unlock skills in the game. These Crimson Shards can be gathered by breaking the large red crystals you'll discover, by defeating enemies or by trading the golden items scattered within the levels. You trade these with the Relic Collector. There is other elemental magic he discovers upon his journey, and like the other tools in his arsenal, they can be used against foes or to help with puzzles within the levels. There are times when some levels will be locked until you enter the Scourge and close its portal. These are a darker version of the level with harder enemies and platforming sections. I enjoyed these alternative versions as they added more story content as well as an overall challenge, but I found that locking all the other levels meant you had to complete the challenging ones first, and because of this some people may find this quite tedious. Some parts will require you to go into a room, defeating all the enemies and survive until the end. I found these rooms a good opportunity to test out new powers and weapons, as well as a good way to obtain Crimson Shards. Bear in mind that dying will mean losing 5% of your hard earned shards, so just tread carefully. There is some backtracking in the game, but only to reinforce certain points in the story or because you need a specific tool or power in order to progress. Although this could be a little annoying at times, the game does have a good non-linear progression system and it will always guide you on where to go next. Gameplay pulls together platforming and combat very well, and the skill tree and secrets add plenty to proceedings. It scores 17 out of 20. Controls work well for the most part, although a jump that can sometimes feel a bit erratic is unfortunate, and they score 16 out of 20. In terms of the visuals, well, they have that quite captivating, fluid, pixelated animation style, which makes the game a real pleasure to watch and play. The different biomes are unique and have been well illustrated, with the parallax scrolling adding depth to an already beautiful and colourful scenery. One of my favourite levels was the swamp with its acid rain. The contrast of that green rain with the pink and brown terrain emitted a decadent and dreadful feel to the cartoony aesthetic. The lighting effects in dark areas of the game are very well implemented thanks to the clever use of blackened backgrounds. The HUD icons and text may seem slightly small for some and cannot be increased in size. Also, the character can get lost in the frenzy, but luckily there is an accessibility feature that allows either the protagonist or the enemies to have a white outline, making it easier to distinguish them. The story has some pixelated still images that help narrate events from time to time, and although it would have been great to have fully animated sequences, they do the job just as well, to be fair. I did encounter some frame rate drops, although it only really occurred when there were many enemies on screen, the sort of times where you were being attacked simultaneously by many enemies. For the vast majority of the time though, it did run smoothly. In terms of the audio, the soundtrack has a decent collection of songs which have been beautifully composed. These range from eerie flute and string melodies in the dark cave levels to the jolly and relaxing tune when in a town. I did find a lot of the songs were used repeatedly, but they never bored me or irritated me either. Sound effects are also well implemented, with the sound of the magic being cast, the crystals being shattered, or the cheeky goblins that chuckle right after an attack, all being my personal favourites. Visuals show just how delightful pixel art can look to this day when the proper care and attention are put in, and they score 18 out of 20. Audio matches the visuals well and is of a very high standard, even if a little repetitive at times, and it scores 17 out of 20. Flynn, Son of Crimson costs £17.99 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. It could take anywhere between 8 to maybe 15 hours to finish, depending on your skill level and whether you attempt to get all of the relics and unlock every alternate exit. There is currently no physical edition available, but it could well be the type of game that's picked up by a small print run company in the future. When factoring in the high production values and the fun factor, I do feel this is a fair enough asking price, and overall value scores 17 out of 20. To conclude, I really enjoyed this title, feeling it was a great platformer with some high octane, satisfying battle mechanics. The development team have done a good job of balancing the different genres without ever having one try to overpower the other, and this is a tough act to get right. It will take you a decent amount of time to finish and will be fun along the way. There were a few negative points, as I mentioned in the review, but aside from this, very enjoyable and a game you may well want to consider adding to your collection. Flynn, Son of Crimson gets a SwitchUp score of 85%. Another big thank you to Azdin for writing this one for us. As I said, please do check out his channel, link is in the top pinned comment. A quick thank you as always to our Patreons for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.